The looking glass is an ancient art technique known as scrying. This technique reveals the blueprint of your soul. If you would like to learn the ancient art of scrying, come to my TikTok page Saturdays at 2 p.m. Central. The blueprint of Amy's soul brought forward the goddess Cerridwen. Cerridwen came to tell us about activating our rainbow light body, about the water that Amy is holding in her arm that holds the all-seeing eye. We're going to learn about how our inner world, our DNA, our mind, our emotions, project onto our outer reality and how to fix ourselves by fixing our outer world. We're going to talk about activating our rainbow light body with sound and water. Amy's head is around 11 o'clock. She has many symbols that reflect the vesica piscis. This is the eye of the needle, and inside the eye is a bumblebee. The bumblebee is known as the sound of God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, which is sound. Sound is frequency. Frequency is God. At 10 o'clock is a bright star, and at 9 o'clock is a water, like a scrying looking glass at the heart chakra. Remember what the Christ said. He said, "Living waters will pour from your heart. I am the living waters." Water is Christ that gets activated through sound. Below the living water is a phoenix. This is the fire from your solar plexus, the sun. Below the sun is a fish, the age of Pisces, and the flesh, the seat of the soul. Coming out of the seat of the soul is the rainbow, and the rainbow has 4 spirals and musical notes. There is another self singing under the rainbow. At 1 o'clock, there is a male whose head is a house that is on fire and is deconstructing. It is a world being destroyed, the ego and the mind. The female is wearing a helmet with a peacock inside. The number 4 is revealed four times. The 4 lines on the fish reflect 1111, the 4 spirals, the 4 fingers being showcased, and the 4 vesica piscis lines above her head. We're going to listen to videos briefly about the rainbow light body.
When exploring the light body, one of the first things you might learn is actually about auras. In New Age circles, auras are usually thought to be a kind of energy that emits from your body and follows the same frequency pattern as the chakras, where the root is the smallest body, the physical form, and then the sacral body, solar body, heart body, and so on radiate outwardly around you. Many people claim to see auras, and there are actually techniques that may help you to do so, including unfocusing your eyes on a person or even just putting a hand in front of a black screen. It's not uncommon to see either a colored or white glow around the object of your focus. The aura system mirrors the chakra system almost identically because in a way, it's part of the same system. The aura reflects your energy body on the outside, just as your chakras reflect your energy body on the inside. However, both of these systems weave together to create the human light body. Much like how when you put the 7 colors together in light, you get pure white light. The thing is, there are actually many different types of light bodies, reflecting different geometries that can be necessary for different purposes. The most commonly discussed one is the star tetrahedron, but you can have a light body based on any of the Platonic solids. And then there is even the Covenant 486 Merkaba, which is said to be the root of the Tree of Life system itself, and which we explore in our Spirit Medicine Walkers workshop at the end, for those who are interested. For the purposes of simplicity, today we're going to be exploring the original Merkaba that we learned, which is a great place to get started. But before we jump into anything else, there's something we must know. No matter how much you try to understand the light body, Merkabas and chakras through the sacred geometry and logical explanations, it will never be enough on its own. As Drunvalo has explained, there is a missing half of our understanding that is purely experiential and can only be experienced through your own practice when centered with love. As we understand it, the Merkaba is the divine light vehicle used by ascended masters to connect with and reach the higher realms. It is the full extent of our energetic and subtle body that when fully active encompasses our whole self and can stretch out to anywhere between 55 and 72 feet. This particular one is based on the blueprints of Metatron's cube and the tetrahedral energy field, taking the shape of two counter-rotating tetrahedrons spinning around the body in line with the chakras up the spine as the axis. And though while it may look like there's only 2 star tetrahedrons, there's actually 3, but the third is overlaid onto the others and is often forgotten about in the meditations. The Merkaba is an extension of our energy field, or our collective energy field, that acts as a vehicle which allows us to move through the different dimensions and frequencies all around us. The word itself actually comes from the Hebrew word that means chariot or cart and forms a huge part of Ezekiel's vision in the tradition of Merkaba mysticism. In the book of Ezekiel, the Merkaba is used to refer to the throne chariot of God, the 4-wheeled vehicle driven by 4 cherubim, each of which has 4 wings and 4 faces of a man, lion, ox, and eagle, often which are esoterically seen as reflections of the 4 elements. For the most part, the teachings of the Merkaba mysteries revolved around the visions of the prophet, which were centered around stories of ascension and people transcending the physical world into the realm of God. Some writers have even argued that early Christian theology and discourse was influenced by the Jewish Merkaba tradition to some extent. In fact, some see the accounts of St. Paul, who has been argued to be influenced by Gnosticism, to be one of the earliest first accounts that we have of a Merkaba mystic in Jewish or Christian literature. Throughout Kabbalistic history though, discussions concerning the Merkaba were limited to only the most worthy sages, as it was considered overzealous to ponder on the nature of higher worlds and what they looked like. In more modern teachings, Melchizedek tells us that the Merkaba can be recreated through conscious breathing and meditations in as little as 18 breaths. The first 6 are for balancing the polarity, the next 7 are for proper pranic flow through the entire body, and the final breaths are from shifting the consciousness from 3rd to 4th dimension. And then finally, the last 3 breaths are for recreating the rotating Merkaba within and around the body. The meditation has a lot of parts though, and while we may animate it one day, if you want to walk through, you can check out Drunvalo Melchizedek's Flower of Life, Volume 2. Ultimately, the first step to creating and remembering your Merkaba is always love. And even Melchizedek explains that a lot of people don't need all of the left brain steps because the right brain, the experience of love, is enough to activate it naturally. To be clear, there are different kinds of Merkabas out there, absolutely. In fact, in one particular plant medicine ceremony at Rhythmia, Thoth appeared in my inner vision and shared with me a different Merkaba than I'd ever seen before. It was octagonal in nature, surrounding my body with a 3-stranded DNA helix spiraling through it and a tremendous volume of rainbow particles shooting out of the bottom and rising up to the top. Wild stuff. That said, I know we talk about the importance of love in this kind of stuff a lot, but it really is the most vital part. Love and connection are the very life and heart of the Merkaba and light body that supports the chakras, as love is said to be the frequency of creation itself. To that end, the Merkaba isn't just a tool or some aspect of you, it is alive and fully a part of you. It's no different than how you have a nose or an arm. The Merkaba light body is what lays the blueprints for the nadis and the axiotonal lines that we've talked about before. It literally is the lines that allow the prana, chi, and energy to flow back into you and out into the universe. Our Merkaba is our connection to the divine. It's what links us to each other and the universe itself. So how does the Merkaba light body relate to the chakras exactly? Well, the 8 chakras that run through our spine actually have duplicates in the space around our body, inside the extended Merkabic field. They're said to look like spheres of energy that vary in size depending on your own size and height, the same as the Merkaba itself. Like the energetic flow system mentioned earlier, they're laid out in the blueprint of Metatron's cube. Each sphere sits on the edge or point of a tetrahedron and are kind of like our chakras twins. And Melchizedek said he was actually able to find a record of them using a molecular emission scanner. So when it comes down to it, you can think of our spiritual structure like this. First, there is the energy flow through the chakras, which is facilitated by the nadis when we breathe in and out. From there, the meridian points and lesser chakras reach every cell in the body. On top of that, we have the prana field, which is very close to the body and is generated by the flow of energy through the chakras. Going up in layers, on top of the pranic field, we have the auric field that extends a few feet around us in every direction and is generated by our thoughts and emotions and energy all working together. This is the realm of the dream time and something that we'll talk about in great detail later on. Guiding and protecting our auric field is another energy field in the shape of the egg of life, the original shape of creation. Once you get past that, you start to get into the realms of light and geometry, and our energy takes on a much more geometric nature that can be influenced by our consciousness. Herein we find the light body, yet these geometries are overlaid across and through all of our lesser systems, much like how streams branching off from a river will be like a smaller fractal of the greater body from which it comes. When you bridge your newly mastered lower centers with the previously unknown higher centers,
So notice the 4 wheels on your leg are the 4 wheels of Ezekiel. They look a little different than what is presented in conventional history. And the 4 main individuals in your piece reflect the 4 faces of the chariot of Ezekiel. Now you are holding a ring that looks like an Ezekiel wheel. So we're going to talk about Ezekiel's wheel in depth, because what we have heard about Ezekiel's wheel is something that I believe needs to be explored a bit further. Knowing that God is sound, Christ is water, the Holy Spirit or the Holy Dove is fire, which is the phoenix, we can begin to understand the symbols of the 4 wheels of Ezekiel. The 4 wheels of Ezekiel are found carved on ancient stones all over this realm. Some date back to 2800 BCE. And the 4 spirals are actually a reflection of the 4 spiral arms of the Milky Way. There may be a connection to the 4 wheels of Ezekiel and the 4 arms, spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. Scientists are just now finding out that these 4 spirals exist, and yet ancient cultures knew about them. The swastika is a representation of these 4 arms of Ezekiel's wheels and the 4 spirals. Some take these 4 spirals into the embodiment of our inner and outer realities, utilizing the power of the 4 spirals in order to create the light body. As above, so below. Under a microscope, we can see spirals. So these spirals are within us, and they are also outside of ourselves. Some sounds, particular sounds, actually create spirals. Certain frequencies create mandalas that look like the tetrahedron and the 4 spirals. When we speak to water or add frequency to water, water changes into a snowflake or a mandala that is made up of sacred geometry. Even our inner ear has a spiral called the cochlea. The cochlea looks like a snail. So when we see alchemical symbolisms of the snail, it is about sound in your ear. This particular shape is 432 hertz frequency. Notice how it looks like the sun. A triangle is 180 hertz, a square 360, and the square is the same as the circle. The tetrahedron is 3600 hertz. This is 528 hertz. It is known as the crown chakra, sound. We have 7 main chakras within our body that can be activated through sound. These 7 chakras are like the allegory of the 7 wounds of Christ, because our 7 chakras are points of drainage when we first awaken. And as we heal and activate our 7 chakras, the 7 spirits of God opens and activates our chakras like a scroll. And this is the opening of the scroll, activating and enlightening these chakras, creating the rainbow light body. And the rainbow light body is made up of 7 colors to the rainbow. This is supposedly the sound of the rainbow, 5,201 hertz frequency. Notice this diagram revealing 8 sounds. There is a secret 8th color to the rainbow and an 8th chakra. It's called the 8th flame. We begin at 852 hertz at the bottom. Notice all of the frequencies create sacred geometry and very distinct mandala-like shapes. I'm wondering if we should begin with a particular sound at our root chakra and move our way up to the different sounds through sound therapy. The bumblebee is at the bottom, and the bell is at the heart chakra. It's strange because the bumblebee is in your head chakra within your piece. This shape is 216 hertz. The phi frequency of the golden ratio, the spiral, is 1.618. It's also known as the Fibonacci spiral. It is a frequency that we can listen to. The phi frequency is extremely beneficial for grounding, stability, and the expansion of consciousness. I listened to it last night before I went to sleep, and I woke up so happy. This is 963 hertz frequency, one of my favorite sounds as well.
This sound is 888 hertz.
Notice how these sounds make you feel. Look at the imagery. How does it make you feel? Watch this TikTok video about how sound can heal illness like cancer.
And locate their frequencies. He also claimed he discovered the virus responsible for cancer. Using resonance, or what he termed the mortal oscillatory rate of the virus, he was able to kill it in laboratory experiments over and over and over. He completed hundreds of experiments on tumors in rats purposefully infected with the isolated cancer virus before ever attempting to use these frequencies on people. In 1934, he famously tested out his device on 16 terminally ill cancer patients. Out of 16, 14 of them, all but 2, were certified medically cured in just 3 months. Of his treatment, Rife would later write, "With the frequency instrument treatment, no tissue is destroyed, no pain is felt, no noise is audible, and no sensation is noticed. A tube lights up, and 3 minutes later the treatment's completed. The virus or bacteria is destroyed, and the body then recovers itself naturally from the toxic effect of the virus or bacteria. Several diseases may be treated simultaneously."
So, frequency is God, and we can utilize frequency, but we have to be careful. We must understand frequency and how it affects our minds and our bodies. The 7 colors to the rainbow is connected to the 7 fire prophecy. There is an 8th flame and an 8th and final flower. The prophecy goes that if the new people will remain strong in their quest, the water drum of the lodge will again sound its voice. Now notice you're holding a water drum. There will be a rebirth of the nation and a rekindling of old flames. The sacred fire will again be lit. It is at this time that the light-skinned race will be given a choice between 2 roads. If they chose the right road, the 7th fire will light the 8th and final fire. It will be an eternal fire of peace, love, brotherhood, and sisterhood. So the 7 chakras being ignited actually ignites an invisible 8th fire. The systems that man has built and valued for so long is falling apart, like the man in front of you, where his world or his house is burning and falling apart. We must live as flesh ruled by spirit. Spirit must dominate the flesh, choosing compassion over greed, love over fear. We must be the change that we want to see. When the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth from many colors, creeds, and classes, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They shall be known as the warriors of the rainbow. So you're the warrior of the rainbow. And scientists have just now discovered the 8th color of the rainbow. The 8th flame. The 4 spirals of the Milky Way galaxy that mirror an invisible galaxy, making up the number 8. Now each color of the rainbow has a color. These colors have a frequency, and these frequencies have a life, and this life leads to truth, and this truth leads to abundance and vitality. Now, you have 2 legs, so the rainbow of your leg makes a double rainbow like the Gemini. The double rainbow is known as the twins. But where there is 2, there is also 3. This refers to a 3rd space of the vesica piscis, the 2 overlapping circles. And your vesica piscis is on your head. This means that you are in the eye of the needle. You're in the nothing, learning to hear the voice of God, which is the bumblebee. And the bumblebee is frequency and sound. The double rainbow stands for vital life force. It is believed that the rainbow derives its energy from the sun. Of course it does. Our hearts, when they are opened, emit an electromagnetic energy, just like the sun. Now, the goddess of the rainbow, her name was Manzat. She is connected to the god Sin. Sin was the god of the moon. We were born in sin. And I do see that you have a connection to Manzat because Manzat is responsible for the prosperity of cities. And since you have a man with a house and a world that is burning, I think that you have a connection to Manzat and being responsible for the well-being of not only your own body, but your entire reality, the city outside of yourself. She is known as the Great Lady, and she's also connected to the star Tirana. And this is the star on your ear. It's called the bow star or the rainbow star. So interesting. You might use the word Tirana when you speak. It might have a magical property to it. Notice the individual at 9 o'clock looking like a rainbow body, sitting on a box. The box is a lower realm, a prison planet. Now this is you. This is the goddess that is being presented to you. Notice the two spirals. And the two spirals are actually four spirals when it is in a mirror. Her name is Cerridwen. She is the Welsh goddess and the enchantress. She is known as an herbalist and a shapeshifter. Wisdom, rebirth, inspiration, and transformation. She is connected to the cat, the white cat, love and harmony, the importance of change in finding the essential self, the rainbow light body. And obviously, if she is in front of water in a bowl, then she is a scryer. Someone who scries often looks in water. You can also do it on paper, like I do. We are known as the oracles as well. We are into apothecary and healing ourselves, not through conventional medicine, but through listening to that white color, the white cat, the white holy dove, who teaches us how to heal cancer, how to heal all skin or organ ailments within us and outside of ourselves through really hearing this voice and hearing the voice through the spiral, which is within the ear canal, the snail. And when we hear this voice, then suddenly we become like the Christ, walking on water, raising the dead. But the Visica Piscis within the eye of the needle that also looks like the looking glass is the place where we hear the voice of God. And this is the bumblebee, and this is where you are. It's really important at this time to cut off all associations with those who are not awoken at this time. Notice that the tetrahedron star is right in front of the white cat in your piece. This is about the unity of male and female and the voice of God, frequency, sound, and the color white, the white holy dove, the white cat, the white horse. The scroll that is being opened from the cat is the spiral, but it is also a chakra that is opening and igniting within you, and by extension, how you will ignite that eighth flame onto others just by walking in the room. When Christ walked into the room, someone just had to touch the hem of his garment, and the hem of his garment looking like a scroll. And this scroll heals others because you are now an activator, not a point of drainage. The sun upside down and the sun right side up reflects parallel realities that mirror each other like a looking glass. Look into the mirror, Amy, and what do you see? Do you see the face of the flesh, or do you see divinity? Do you see the color of your skin? Maybe the color of your eyes. Look up to the rainbow that is up in the sky, because it is also within you. But don't believe that the rainbow is made up of 7. The 8th flame is the doorway to heaven. And this doorway is within each and every one of us, and we can ignite each other like an 8th flame. The number 8, the infinity, eternal life. Meditate upon the images within your pieces. Look into the symbology even further than I have. Draw or paint mandalas. Listen to frequencies and see how it makes you feel. Be like a scientist and experiment with sound. Make a journal on how each sound makes you feel. Try not to judge how you feel. Disconnect from all individuals or energies in your outer reality that would lessen your frequency at this time. There will be a time of having to endure the fools, but it is not this time. This time is the time of being in the eye. It is a cocoon of safety, and we must keep our holy temple sacred in order to hear that buzzing bee, the sound of God. The white horse in your piece reflects the apocalypse. The apocalypse is the unveiling of truth, the lifting of the veil. It is also Zeus's twin brother. His name is Apocalypse, and he is connected to gravity. And when we want to rise from gravity, we rise up through sound, like the rainbow above the earth. Lift your voices upon the earth. Lift your voices within your body and mind. Make a joyful noise. My name is Mary Moses. If you would like a reading, go to forestfairy.com.